Hi, Mrinal.
Hello, hi Ria.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Can you please tell me about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Ranal. I currently work for McKinsey and Company. I work in the capacity of a software engineer. So basically, coding is something I do as my day-to-day job.
Oh, that's very nice to hear. We came to know about how great you have built your career, and I would want to know how you did it. So, there are some questions I would like to ask.
Sure.
So, can you please share what were your dreams growing up?
Growing up, that's very interesting. I think for the longest time, very inspired by her, and I wanted to be a lawyer. But then when I started actually studying about it, I thought that okay, maybe this is not for me, and I started studying computer science as a part of my school curriculum when I was in 11th and 12th, and that was something that was very interesting to me.
Okay.
So that's when I kind of switched and decided that okay, I want to do something in computers, and that's how my engineering journey started.
Okay. So, can you tell me how was that your 4 years in college?
4 years of college, I would say were a lot of fun. Uh, I did a lot of other extracurricular activities other than just engineering. I was a part of I was a college drama club. So we had a lot of skits we used to perform in different. It's called Current Up. So in Pune, there was a lot of Current Up. So we used to participate in that. So a lot of cultural fests and everything. So 4 years of college was a lot of fun, a lot of good memories.
Nice. And in your college years, you even pursued internship. And how do you manage your personal life, personal growth, and development with internships? As you know, college these days demand attendance. So how do you manage all?
Yeah, definitely. Attendance was a big part in my college as well. We were expected to be there at least 75% of the time, and if not, there were a lot of repercussions. So we did have semester breaks. So between my semesters, I managed to get an internship. This was during my third year, going into fourth year. Between my semester break, I got an internship from I don't remember, but one of the websites which was very new at the time, where it was like something like LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, but something like LinkedIn, where they used to post a lot of internship opportunities where candidates like me could go and apply. That's where I found my internship and I interned for about 2 months there.
Over 4 years. And what was the motivation that you pursued MS from abroad? Because it's a very daunting process because as being a single girl alone in our country. So what was your thinking? How it shaped for you to go there? Can you please tell me how you thought during that time?
Yeah, definitely. So I did my engineering in Pune and did my master's from Northeastern, which is in US, Boston. So during when I was doing my engineering, I was also researching what I want to do after engineering. So job is the first thing, obviously. I was looking at. So when I was looking at companies, I could see that most of them were had their headquarters in the US, and most of the good work was done there. So that is something that spiked my interest. That okay, I should probably explore. And also, I had seen a lot of people, my seniors, my relatives, and other colleagues had were already living in the US. So I'd seen their journeys. I'd heard stories from them. Like a lot of work was done in India as well as in the US. So that was one of my motivations to learn. What was that what was different from India and US is I would say curriculum wise or what you study is very similar. The way you study is a little different. I think here we focus a lot on or maybe that is just a difference between masters and bachelors. But in bachelor's we focus a lot on multiple different subjects. So computer engineering is something you will learn. Software development is something you will learn. Agile practices is also something you will learn as a part of your curriculum in bachelor's. But master's is very focused. So I wanted to focus and learn more about business side of technology as well as technology in general. So that is what I pursued as my master's degree because I wanted this blend of business as well as technology. I decided to go for a master's.
As you said, the curriculum were similar, even here also and there also. So can you please tell, there might be some difference in environment also, what you got in India and what you got. So can you please throw some light on it?
In terms of environment difference, I would say in India we still follow a lot of traditional practices. For example, having assignments. So it is a very good thing to do, writing your assignments. But the way the submissions are done are pretty traditional. At least back in the day, I graduated quite a long time back now. Were kind of traditional, and that was very different from what was in the US. So, for example, in the US, we only had class once a week, and the entire week was assignment. So you were practically taught what you had to do in that assignment in the class for about 3 hours, and then we had labs, and the rest of the week was assignment. So most of my time was spent in doing mini projects, mini assignments, and TA hours. So TA is like teaching assistant. So every TA was assigned to a batch of 15 to 20 students who would then take over from the professor and help you with your hands-on assignment. And our grading was also based on off the project.
What process did you go through for application process for abroad? Because I heard there were many exams that you have to pass to secure a good college.
One is GRE and the other one is TOEFL. TOEFL is the English exam, and GRE is more of analytical, where you have to give priority to math, English, and essay writing. So these are the two exams that I had to give. Other than that, so when you're applying to a college, specifically in the US, you have to create an application package. In that application package, you have to provide an SOP, which is called Statement of Purpose. Basically, you write down an essay in about, I guess, 500 words or something about why you're applying to that college and what has been your history so far.
How was the transition with, like, as you know, seasons changed. Even living in India, you will feel slightly agitated. Yeah, you are switching countries. Can you tell me your last day in India and your first day there? So, what were you thinking that time?
When you move to a different country, you're all by yourself. So your friends become your family. That is very important to have. I think an important aspect for me that helped is I've always been a social person, so I like talking to people. I like spending time with people, so that helped. Even though I did not have family there, I made a lot of friends, and I had a lot of roommates, so we were like family. In terms of feelings, if I have to talk about, it was definitely very overwhelming to say. But at the same time, it was very exciting. I was very excited to. It was my first time visiting a new country, so I was very excited.
You have told about transitioning from India to Boston. So, were there any cultural shocks that you got there? Plus, did how are people there treating you as some other person there?
There is a certain decorum that you maintain when you go to college. For example, you would not wear shorts and go to college when going in India, and that was completely acceptable in the US. So that was a little weird to me that people are coming in different kind of clothing to school, and it was completely acceptable. I remember when I went to college, even though I was a computer engineer, up till second or third year of my college, we were not allowed to take laptops because they preferred that we do it on college computers. We do all our assignments on college computers. So there was no need for a laptop. Whereas in the US, on the first day itself, I had assignments and I was like, oh, I need a laptop now. So that kind of thing. And other thing, in the US, when I went to when I went to my college library, it was grand. I was not used to having. I was not used to having such grand infrastructure. So everything there was very top quality. For example, in library was amazing. It is a 4 floors library with different floors for different purposes. For example, the entire 4th floor of our library is dedicated as quiet space. You can go and study there, and then third floor of our college library is dedicated to group projects and TA hours and things like that. So every time you have to do a group project, everybody will assemble in the library and do that. Being a day scholar, so I still live at home, so I was not very used to the infrastructure in college. So that was also kind of a change for me. And also we had a very top Olympic quality gym within college campus. So that was also like very surprising for me to have such great infrastructure.
What were the lessons from your time there, personal and professional, that you still apply today?
To be persistent. If you want to achieve something, it's going to be repetitive, and that's when you get better at it. So you have to keep up with it and be persistent and not get bored and keep switching continuously. If you want to go deep down and actually learn something, you have to repetitively do that thing 100 million times until you become perfect at it.
You are the only child to your parents, so how did your parents support help you in pursuing your career abroad?
I never felt that I'm the only child or I'm any different or I'm a girl child or I'm any different from anybody else. My parents had always they always wanted best for me, and really that it was not even a thought that oh, you cannot do this because you're a girl child, or you cannot do that, other than safety concerns, of course. It was never a thought that you cannot do something. It was always go and get what you want. So that way, my parents have played a really big role in whatever I have done now. So yeah, basically they extended their support in every way possible, and never really differentiated between me or my cousins or anyone like that. Always encouraged me to do things outside of traditional just education. Like for example, I was a part of drama club, as I said. I played a lot of sports. I played badminton in my school. I played basketball in my school as well. So they were very encouraging and supportive of overall development more than just studying. So I think that has really helped shape me as a person. Even now, when I am living by myself and I am sustaining by myself, there are a lot of things that I can do. For example, as simple things as swimming. I see that it's a very natural thing for me. Everyone knows swimming, but it's only when I went out of home. I understood that okay, not many people know swimming because they were not exposed to that as a child. So I was exposed to a lot of different things as a child that has really shaped my personality, and this exposure was given by my parents, so they have played a very crucial role in my development.
When you actually had this plans, how was your parents' reaction then?
They were very supportive of it. They were more excited for this transition than I was. They were very supportive of it. They were very concerned. Their concerns were all very valid. So they used to keep a lot of checks on me that are you doing okay? Are you feeling okay? And we used to have a lot of video calls. At least initially, we used to have a lot of video calls. I was expected to maybe text my mom every time I'm going out, and things like that. But those were very valid concerns, even though at times it didn't make sense sense to me that why do I? It's 3 a.m. in India, and why am I expected to message my mom and tell her that I'm going to college or something like that? But we did work our way through it, and it all turned out to be good.
So you mentioned 3 a.m. and how did you, manage personal and professional growth there, plus making some time for your family, having these two different time zones. Then how did you manage that?
Yeah, it definitely is some work, but I always believe that as much as your professional life is important, your personal life, your parents are also important. So there is always 5-10 minutes that you can spare out of your day to speak with your parents, and I think the right communication is important. Even if I'm not able to, let's say, talk for a day or two, I would let them know that, oh, I'm busy with exams, or I am busy with some of the other things. And they would definitely understand that, okay, if I have exams and there is some reason that I'm not able to call them, I would just text them. That just takes seconds. I would just text them and they would understand.
Okay. It was very informative talking with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Ria.